सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We have seen till the second mantra. The Vedic literature is often referred to as mantra only. The Itihasa, Purana, Smriti Granthas are referred to as shlokas. Shlokyate anena. It is written by somebody. Therefore, it is called shloka. Whereas the Shruti is not composed or written by one individual or an authorship. Therefore, it is called mantra. So, the third mantra, please repeat after me. Pitodaka Jagtatrunaha Dugdhadohaha Nirindriyaha Ananda Namate Lokaha Tan Sagachati Tadadata. So yesterday we saw that Nachiketa was concerned with a lot of Shraddha, concerned on behalf of his father, looking at the plight of the things that he was giving. So what was his observation? So that observation is mentioned in this third mantra. This is also a code word between Swamis and Brahmacharis in the ashram, that when people donate, so in their houses, when it has served its purpose, and now they don't want to throw it away, but want to give it, sofa hua, kuch, or something like that. So the material is such. So instead of saying that the material has lost its value, they don't have the heart to throw it away, and instead of throwing it away, they are donating it. So we use this mantra. You will understand why. Pitodakaha, how are the cows that were being donated in the name of the Vishwajita Yaga, where everything has to be given? So the cows were Pita Udakaha, as though they have had their last sip of water. Matlab, to drink water also they did not have the energy. They looked so distraught. Pita udakaha. Jagdha trinaha. Trina means grass. Jagdha trinaha. They have had their last morsel of cud to chew on. Meaning chewing is also almost impossible. Dugdha dohaha. They don't have the capacity to produce milk. Usually, if you have raised cows, you understand that the cow can give milk only if it has delivered a calf. Looking at the calf, the cow's udders fills up with the milk, and that is what is fed to the calf. Dugdha dohaha, that they have become so old that they do not have the capacity to yield any further calves. Whether their cycle to progenate is done. If they are that senile, old. Dugdha dohaha, nirindriyaha. Nirindriyaha, all their indriyas look dilapidated. If you ever go to purchase a cow, you look at the udders, you look at their teeth, you look at these are the signs. If there is any disease, if there is any infection, if there is any kind of, not a good cow to buy, the teeth reveal a lot. These cows, nirindriyaha, they must have lost their teeth also. Completely knocked out. Now the father was giving this kind of cows in donation. So when in the ashram we receive something, as a donation, wherein you sit in that sofa which is given, you need a crane to pull you out because the springs are all lost. The cushioning is all dampened. That you sit and you sink, and it pokes from underneath. So then we sing this mantra. Pitodagaha, Jagdhatranaha, Dugdadohaha, Nirindriyaha. So this is the code word. Meaning, ekdam bekar sa donation. That is what this father was donating. Then he thought, why is my father doing this? See, Nachiketa was not only his son, but also his student. He used to run the Gurukula, the father. And as he was running the Gurukula, he is a teacher come parent, or parent come teacher jada. He is the one that taught me all this, that when you donate something which is such useless variety, what is it that you will reach? What kind of loka, what kind of swarga that you reach? Ananda namate lokaha. Nandaha meaning happy. Sukhapurna. Ananda, that which is immeasurable. Asamantat nandaha. Immeasurable ananda. But when that adirgha is reduced to hrasva and it is ananda, meaning not nanda, he will reach a very miserable state. It can have two interpretations. One, because of this, he will reach to that kind of loka where there is no ananda. Pretty soon after having given such donation, he will have the regrets of what he has done, and right here in this world, because of the weight of his pressure of his guilt, he will have no sukha here also. Ananda namate lokaha. Tan sagachati tadadata. By giving this, he will certainly go to such an unhappy world, here and hereafter. So this kid, he thought very intently. And then he came up with a plan. What was the plan? His father, his guru, had several children and several students, amongst whom he was one of them. So he goes to his father. And what does he say to his father in the fourth mantra, page number 7? Sahovacha pitaram tata kasmai mam dasyasiti tata kasmai mam दास्यसीति द्वितीयं तृतीयं होवाच द्वितीयं तृतीयं तं होवाच मृत्यवे त्वा ददामीति सः Pitaram ha uvacha. He went to his father, meaning as a son, not as a teacher and a student. So as a son. Because the moment you deal as a parent, you have a little more liberty, a little more cushion of elbow room. So he went and approached him as a son. Pitaram sa ha uvacha. He said this. Father, in this Vishwajita Yaga, you have to give all that which is dear to you. See, without telling, he is being very, very cautious, very, very careful. Even at that age of 5 or 6, he was so keen to not address the father in an insulting way. क्यों बाबू, तेरे को मालूम नहीं है कि ऐसी चीज नहीं देने का? No, he didn't point fault at him, but instead he said, you are supposed to give that which is very dear to you. This is understood. This statement is not said there. And I know that amongst all the children, I am very dear to you. So who are you going to give me in the Vishwajita Yaga? Who are you going to give me in sacrifice? The intent of the child was, you are supposed to give that which is dear to you, that which is precious to you, and what you are giving is not worthy of it. That was the point to highlight. And like any father who was busy, he did not pay attention to the child who was talking beyond his age. So when the father did not pay attention to him once, so he uttered the same sentence, Tata kasmai mam dasyasi iti. Who are you going to give me away to? Twice and thrice. Dvitiyam, tritiyam, tam ha uvacha. He repeated that when you are busy and the child comes to you and keeps nagging. Mama, mama, dada, dada, sort of losing the patience, the father or the parent usually, they bark at them. What did he say? That is one reason. Second, the reason for the irritation of the father is, he is pointing at that thing which he is also aware of that it is not worthy. But I am giving because I am not being justifiably good in my deed. He is aware of it. And when that is being pointed, his own guilt surfaces out as irritation. So out of that pressured moment, stressful moment, and he's saying it in front of everybody. See, you have your own guilt, and the child is irritating, and it is being done in front of everybody. So out of that pressured situation, the father turns to the child and says, "You want to be given to somebody? Really?" And then he utters a word. See, when the mother or the father lovingly, very loving to the child, we don't mean it when we utter it. मैं जाऊं नहीं, मैं अब भी जाना है, मैं जाऊं. The parent is like, "जा मर." Don't we say that to our own child? In Telugu, po, saupo. Don't we? In frustration, we do say that. So the father said, "Mrutyavetva dadami iti." You want to be given? Go, I give you to death. Ja mar. Now this child has a different level of sincerity. That is the beauty that has to be observed while reading these scriptures. That what is the level of sincerity, shraddha and dharmic way of life, to what standard that they maintain to live it. Today we blame it saying, "Oh, it is genetically we are preordained to be like this chaotic. It comes in the genes." It's the same gene here. The father is doing something which is wrong. The son recognizes it and he wants his father to do dharmic. I have observed this. See, in US, the environment is such that, one, we are minority there. And when the child goes to the school and the other environments for sports or any other activity, it is predominant with the Christian outset. The backdrop is the Christian. And when the child comes back with the questions that the friends have raised or the teacher has raised, for which they feel awkward, they don't know the answer, and the parent sadly has not paid attention to their own roots. Which parent pays attention to in India? Because all of them have gone from here and settled there. The first generation, the settlers. Here in India, we don't pay attention to it because we have taken it for granted. So the parent searches for an environment where such things can be taught and the child can learn and they can be more sophisticatedly be armed to face the pressure of the peers and the environment there. And the child starts liking it because it gives a sense of identity, and that sense of identity brings in not just pride about your own roots, but it also fills in with confidence. And when they start liking it, and the parent who has to bring the child every single Sunday or whichever day the Balavihar is, sometimes the parents are like, aaj nahi. It had been a heavy week, a lot of work, a lot of travel. They come to the child and say, not this week. They sit on the head of the parent and ensure that the parent brings them for sure. Do whatever you may. I want to be there. The parent is not interested. The child who is interested now wants to stay in that path. They force the parent to take the right path, right course of action. The child, we cannot blame it saying it is genetic. In their innocence, they usually lean towards dharmic way of life. It is we as parents, sometimes in our own conveniences, give them a wrong standpoint or a wrong standard of life. Now, we observe this here in Nachiketa also. Now, after being scolded and be given to the Lord of Death himself, and you have to visualize. There is house, that small, thatched roof. Outside, between two huge trees, he is sitting, asking different students to bring the cows and other things that have to be given away. And he is giving. The son comes and he argues with the father. And on the northeast side, there was the Havan that was done, the Vishwajita Yaga was done. After the Yaga is done, he is sitting under the tree giving away all the things. And what he is giving is not that great. The son comes, talks to him, and the father irritatedly says, "Go die." Now he finds some secluded spot in the house. Not to cry. He is a very unusually sincere kid. So he sits in that secluded corner and starts thinking. There is a difference between thinking and worrying. Both look similar. In worrying, what we do is, as though a broken record, we keep repeating the same thought again and again and again. Why is this happening? Whereas thinking, this has happened, how should I look at it? How should I find a solution for it? So in that sincerity, finds a secluded spot, starts thinking in a very sincere way. So he says, he's thinking to himself loud. The fifth mantra, page 10. Bahunamemi prathamaha, bahunamemi madhyamaha, kim svidyamasya kartavyam, yanmayadya karishyati. Yanmaya adya kim karishyati. In this situation, what should I be doing? For my father / teacher to get so irritated, amongst all the children and all the students that he has, I am not that Gaya Guzra. I am not that. He says, Bahunamemi Prathamaha. In many things that I am learning, I am among the first of the order. Whether it is chanting, whether it is memorization, whether it is application, he says, I am amongst the best. Bahunamemi Prathamaha. At the most, if I am not the first, I am not the worst. Bahunamemi Madhyamaha. I am in the middle. I am not that mediocre. I know for sure that in many, what kind of idea about himself at that age he has, and the clarity of it, that I am good in many things, maybe even best in many things. But if not, there are few things that which I am not that great. But even in those, I am in the middle. I am not mediocre or in a worse condition. For my teacher or father to get that irritated. Is he thinking that I am no good, therefore he is not giving me? You see the thought. It is not, why did my father scold me that way in irritation? He understands. Sometimes, in their own working field, sometimes they get irritated. He's not talking about the irritation. Am I not that worthy? I am good in many things. I am also in few things, maybe in the middle, but I am not that worse. Kim svidyam asya kartavyam. Now that he has uttered this statement, unto death, unto that Lord of death, I give you. Mrutyave tva dadami iti. I give you unto death. What should I be doing? What is my kartavya? That is the difference between thinking and worrying. Instead of looking at the possibility of what are the solutions, and based on the understanding of the solutions, what is my role and responsibility? He is not like, father is all learned, he should have known, he should not have scolded me in front of everybody like this. How will I face it? Why did he do this? Why did he is not? Okay. He said it. How should I understand and apply what my teacher or father has commanded me to? What can be the solution? Kim svidyamasya kartavyam yanmaya adya karishyati. What should I be doing in such condition? So then he looks at his ancestors, he looks at his own predecessors, he looks at all the great ideals that the people who he looked up to, how would they have reacted? See, for most of the, if you have one compass pointer, like say for example, in the mission activities, what would Gurudev or Guruji have done in such condition? How would they have responded to this situation? That will be the compass. Why? Ideal. From that ideal standpoint, whatever would be their way of responding to a situation, that becomes my course of action. Given an opportunity, I may slip up. But looking at the ideal, the one that is my role model, that decides my choices. So he is evaluating what would his ancestors, what would those people who have lived up to these ideals, how would they have thought through? Bacha itna, and when you look at whether it is Nachiketa, whether it is Dhruva, whether it is Prahlada, the kind of thinking capacity, the maturity in their thinking, even after having lived 40, 50 years, we fail to get to this maturity. So his thinking is in the next shloka, 14th shloka, 14th page, 6th shloka. अनुपश्य यथा पूर्वे प्रतिपश्य तथा परे सस्यमिव मर्त्यः पच्यते सस्यमिव जायते पुनः. अनुपश्य यथा पूर्वे pratipasya tatha pare. All our great people that have lived to the ideal, whenever a teacher, whenever a well-wisher has given us some instruction, how did they act? For example, imagine that the next day morning, he has been selected to be coronated as the king in line. Who am I talking about? Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra. And that day evening, just the day before evening, the episode has started right from the morning. Mantara, Kaikeyi getting completely distraught, she going into the Kopagriha, Dasharatha searching for her, goes into the Kopagriha. He is completely destroyed with what she asks. And then Kaikeyi, seeing that Dasharatha is not doing the needful, sends the orders to call for Ramji. Rama has arrived. And when Ramji arrives and he sees the situation, he hears what Kaikeyi has to say. Like any young man, filled with anticipation, filled with the future and the plan, hears that all those plans have been toppled. Not just that he is not being coronated as the king to be, he has been now asked to get out, not get out of the room, not get out of the palace, get out of civilized living. One of the clauses that Kaikeyi says that you will not stay in any civilized locations. You will not live in any kingdom. Having left this, if he goes and lives in any other kingdom and there he amasses a lot of strength and comes back to claim with that strength, with that resources, whatever she has planned for Bharata can get completely upside down. So one of the clauses is you will not stay in any civilized locations. You will stay in forest. You will not even carry the identity of being in a kingly lineage. You will wear the vastra made out of the bark of a tree. You know, when you get the groceries in the olden days, the grains, we used to get it in jute bags. తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే గోన్ సంచి. Have you seen how that it's very rough, very coarse, very uncomfortable. Now he was expected to wear such coarse material so that there is no sign of him being to that lineage. The one who just had the bath, the sacred bath, and that description, he has a complete, what do you call, the spa treatment. The chandana, the sugandhita dravya, with milk and everything, abhisheka has been done to Bhagavan Rama. He has worn those new clothes, about to wear everything as insignia to be coronated. At that point, is it utar sab? You are not anymore the one to be coronated, and you have to wear this kind of coarse, uncomfortable clothes and go to the forest. He comes to his mother, the biological mother. He has time from this Kopagriha walking to Kausalya Devi's room. He has to compose himself. He has to digest this fact, understand what are the ramifications of this that is being asked of him. by his own father. So he goes to Kaushalya Devi's room and he says, Mother, I am happy to inform you. Look at the words. I am happy to inform you that father, instead of limiting me to be just the coronated king of this Ayodhya Nagari, he has coronated me to be the king of this forest. Look at the impact. He is not going there to the mother to incite ill feeling about Dasharatha in Kaushalya. Thinking होना तो ऐसा होना चाहिए. And he says, Lakshmana asks him, why didn't you revolt? See, at that point, Ramji says to Lakshmana, I have not yet been coronated. If I had been coronated and then such thing was asked, as the king in line who has been selected, my responsibility would have been different. Based on that role and responsibility, my response to father would have been different. And since that responsibility is yet not given, I am just like any one of the sons. His word is my command. I will have to fulfill it. Today, the way we have raised our children with the inside influence, the outside influences, if you were, as a parent, to tell your child this, you want a seat in the college, what do you call that? Payment seat. Everything is ready, about to pay, and suddenly decide, nothing doing, now you go to the village and be a farmer. What will the child say? तुमको फार्मर बनना, तुम जाओ, मैंने जाने वाला. And from this completely dilapidated value system, ethical living that we are today, we want to evaluate Rama, Krishna, Bhagwan Rama, Bhagwan Krishna, and Nachiketa. Look at their thinking. How beautiful, how sincere they are. The one who was such sincere, they were addressed as the Arya. Arya meaning dignified, noble in their thought and word and deed. So Nachiketa, he says, Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare. Our elders whom we look up to, they have lived a life filled with values, virtues, morals, ethics, a complete dharmic life. Looking at them, I have to module my way of thinking and lifestyle. The instruction that is given by the teacher, by my father, it may look illogical at this moment. But if that word is given, he's already done. By giving the wrong donation, he has already done enough harm to himself. Now that he has given a word to Bhagavan Mrityu himself, and me not fulfilling it will be further detrimental to my own father. And as a teacher, when he has said, oh, my job is to go down and be fulfilling whatever he has asked. Because that is what my ancestors have shown in their life. Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare. And then the second sentence is so beautiful. It says, Sasyamiva martyah pachyate, sasyamiva ajayate punaha. As we sow, so we reap. Sasya meaning corn, maize. When it is sown in a healthy condition, it grows in a very beautiful environment. One crop, one corn plant can give at least about 3 or 4 kernels. Once that is, allowed to mature, those seeds when sown gives rise to further, meaning our Sanatana understanding, again, a 5-6-year-old having this kind of clarity about these aspects. I am today what I am because of the deeds that I have done in my past. And whatever is the situation that is unfolding is purely because of my actions that I have done in the past, which is resulting in the present experience that I am undergoing. So, who is responsible for this present condition? I alone am. Karma Siddhanta explained. Purva Janma, this Janma, and what I do, how I act, react, respond in this life decides my future. Punarjanma Siddhanta explained. By reacting to it, I will be losing the opportunity, but I should be responding to it. Therefore, I have to evaluate what my response should be and not what my reaction should be. The attitude of Karma Yoga is seen in his evaluation. Because whatever is my response to this, what my father has commanded, that becomes the seed for my next. Therefore, I should not be flippant in my reaction, but process this and act accordingly. And there is a very beautiful book by Puja Gurudev, We Must. Almost every essay that he has written there, almost every paragraph, it ends with, act wise, we must. Think wisely, we must. Choose the right choices, we must. All of that reflects in, see, even that thinking is not like going all over the place. The thinking is precise and beautifully channelized. We seldom think, we only react. We don't respond, we only react. And how quickly can I react in a manner where the other person is subdued into, mind games are vichitra. You belittle the other person, their choices. If the command is given, will be done. I'll tell you my own experience. When I left US, the understanding was that I will live in Vijayawada village, outskirts of Chinmay Sitaram Ashram. And the same Puja Swamiji calls me and says, now you come to Hyderabad. And his statement is given. So then I look at him and I say, do I have a choice to represent any other thought? Because he has already given a statement. I said, do I have a choice to have Bol diya na? This is what Swamiji said. Then I said, Swamiji, if not you, who else will I ask? I think it is my very, in my very opportunity to ask. If I can even ask. That is what I am asking. Can I ask? Then he said, Pucho. Is it necessary that I have to? Can I continue? And he looked at me and said, no, you have to come to Hyderabad. That which, where I was living 22 years, I left that to come, was for that very purpose. And when the purpose itself is changed, and the command is given, and I looked at him pleadingly. I said, "ठीक है, you can keep that as a secondary responsibility. But this will be your primary responsibility." Life changes different experiences. As it changes, am I reacting to it or am I responding to it? If I am reacting to it, my entire opportunity of direction is lost. I have to only think and act, not react. Am I getting across? But we have to be very conscious of our own thinking pattern. Am I reacting or am I acting? Am I responding? Wherever there is a response which is not processed, which is not thought through, you're reacting. If it is thought through, pros and cons, and whatever is the decision, is it in the highest order of dharmic expression? That is a response. See, the rest of the Upanishad is very subtle. The thinking pattern, the maturity of that student, Nachiketa, he's not like, why did he react? Why did he scold me in front of everybody? He's not thinking of why. Why is this happening? This has happened. Now, what is my role? What is my responsibility? What choice? How do I execute it? How do I face it? Because whatever I do becomes the seed that I sow for my future. Because whatever I am is because of my earlier choices in various births that has led me to this point of this experience that I have gone through. Am I getting across? Having thus thought, he decides, my father's word will be fulfilled. Now, in this flow of the story, don't get caught up in questions. The reason I am saying this is because after every Kathopanishad class, especially the first only, invariably the frequently asked questions, how did he go? Did he go with the body? Did he not go with the body? Did he die and go to Yamaloka? That is not the way where we have to logically go into. Whatever was the command, he fulfilled by going to Yamaloka. And there, what happened in the 7th mantra, 17th page. वैश्वानरः प्रविशति अतिथिर्ब्राह्मणो गृहान् तस्यैतां शान्तिं कुर्वन्ति हर वैवस्वतोदकम्. Having gone there, the situation was such that, now, where did he go? Yamaraj, Yamadharmaraja, his residence is in Swarga. But his office is in between the threshold of Swarga and Naraka, where all the jivas that come to him, he and Chitragupta decide which direction they have to take. The jivas have to take. And sometimes it is not just the Yamaganas, but sometimes for specific cases, Yamaraj himself has to go to deliver whatever has to be delivered to that jiva. So when this Nachiketa reached the residence of Yamaraja, Yamaraja was on duty. He was not available at home. And this child was very clear in his head. My father said, I have to talk and be given to Yamaraj. If Yamaraja is not there in home, I am staying here outside the house. But time lagega, lagne do. I will wait here. And probably his ministers, Yamadharmaraja's ministers, or his wife. Yamadharmaraja's wife's name is Yami Devi. Therefore, when the mother serves food to the child and the child says, Mom, the food is yummy, I always crack up. Because Yami is Yamadharmaraja's wife. So I am guessing it must have been that because the motherly instinct, a little kid is waiting at the door, he is refusing to come inside. He is saying, no, my business is only with Yama. You are not Yama. I will wait until he arrives. And she is like, wait, beta, एक glass पानी तो पी ले. पता नहीं कहाँ से आएगा. Have something, right? He refuses. So that Yami is saying to this Nachiketa, Vaishvanaraha pravishati adithir brahmano grihe. It is like the fire himself has come in the form of Atithi. If you do not take the Atithya, the hospitality, what will happen? Just tasyaitam shantim kurvanti hara vaivasvatodakam. She says, it is our responsibility to give Atithya, otherwise that fire or the Atithi in the form of the fire can be quite destructive if the Atithya is not accepted. Look at the norm. We are like, Atithi, tum kab jaoge? and we make a film out of it. And we appreciate. Ours is the tradition, ours is the civilization wherein Atithi means what? The one who has come unto our doorstep without a prior notice or appointment. Tithi, Tithivara Nakshatra. Tithi meaning a date and time already fixed. Atithi, it is not fixed. The one who comes after having informed you is called Abhyagati. The one who comes without such notice is called Atithi. In the so-called modern sophisticated world, we have become so irritable if somebody lands at our doorstep. बोल के आना चाहिए था ना, ऐसी टपक पड़े. And that we call heights of sophisticated civilized existence. धिक्कार है हम लोगों पर. And Atithi is considered as Devo Bhava. Sakshat Bhagavan has come in that form. And ours is not the tradition wherein we say, अबे इस टाइम पे आए हो तो खा के ही आए होंगे. See, all said and done, this civilizational values are so ingrained. Anybody arriving at any time of day or night, unannounced, we invite them, give them a seat, give them some refreshing water. If not anything, at least we say, chai piyoge, coffee piyoge, nasta karoge. It is not like, will you eat? What is your choice to eat? Either coffee or chai. Those are your choices. Pick one. This was the tradition wherein when people come at that time when food, it was so easy. It was not complicated. At the most, what do you have to do? One more round of rice to be cooked. Every house had some pickle or pudi or chutney pudi or something. In Telugu, there is a saying, "Man dekkuvaithe, majjiga palchakavadu." If not anything else, at least buttermilk is there, dahi is there at home. And when people say, "Swamiji, it is homemade," it is ridiculously laughable. When they say that curd is homemade, but even that cannot be made. Okay, even if that is not, the services are available. Home delivery wale hain. You order something and it arrives, and then buttermilk at least can be given with rice and some chutney, some achar, but something to be fed. If that Athithya is not accepted, it does immense harm to the one whose house the Atithi has arrived. This Dharma Lakshana, Vyavahara Dharma Lakshana, Yama Dharmaraja's wife knows very well. She addresses this Nachiketa that, do you know that you having arrived at our threshold, you are like the very fire. If not handled well, all our punya karma can be burnt. For our sake, please take some Atithya. Piba Vaivasvatodakam, at least drink some water. ये बच्चा तो एकदम He's like, are you Yama? My instruction was to meet Yama. I don't know about all of this. I will wait here until Yama arrives. We will see the effect of this and learn one more beautiful point tomorrow. We will conclude now. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ